And I
Um,
love that you are, living abroad, living the
yeah,
dream. Not
yeah.
South Africa yet, but
No,
hopefully. Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah,
it is still on the cards
yeah.
in the future. We tend to live a 5-year plan, and then
Okay.
that's how we've done things in the past, and the 5-year may or may not materialize. So our previous experiences, the 5-year hasn't materialized, but this one might. We
Yeah,
might fulfill 5 years here,
yeah,
and then and then we will consider what's next. And it might be that South Africa is on the cards next,
yeah,
or it might move down the line depending on what the options are there and then.
yeah.
But I'm thinking that when you're in South Africa and you're there 3 years, I mean, South Africa tempts people. I mean,
Mm,
it has so much available for
yeah,
the holiday maker. So
yeah.
for friends and family, they might actually make it
They
out to
might come
see
out.
you.
Yeah. Actually, we have had a couple of friends that say, "Oh, how come you haven't gone on that holiday to South Africa? Because we thought we might pop out."
Yeah,
um,
I can imagine you suddenly being quite popular once. Well,
yeah,
it's a bit more of an undertaking to go to South
yeah,
Africa, but there's so much from mountain, sea,
yeah.
safari. You've got almost everything in one place. Um,
And also, I think that South Africa still obviously has quite a reputation that's not necessarily always good. And I think that people almost, if we say we're going, it's almost like an excuse. It's like, oh, well, that's a great opportunity. Then we can come out too. Whereas maybe they would never have considered it before.
mm,
Whereas because they know somebody out there, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, well, we might go and visit them. We might do that as our holiday this year.
mm,
Whereas if we weren't there, I don't think they'd say, oh yeah, let's try South Africa.
mm,
I think there is something about having people there
mm.
that persuades people more, maybe.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it is interesting how a reputation precedes a country,
mm,
because here in living in America, people of especially the older generation in England,
mm,
were very concerned for our welfare because obviously it's a country that has guns. So
yeah,
people you hear what you hear on the news, don't you? You're not going to hear the good news. And
exactly.
yeah, and it's the same with South Africa. It has a strong reputation for being unsafe, and
Yeah,
yet you and I both have been in South Africa a number of times, and
never
really
had
enjoyed
any.
our
Yeah,
time and never had any problems
yeah,
whatsoever, and move around quite freely. And it's not like we're living in some kind of little bubble,
yeah,
and and you follow the sensible precautions,
yeah,
and I think all countries you research the kind of concerns that country might have.
yeah.
So for example, Lagos also has a reputation for being very corrupt and unsafe, but
Mhm.
actually Lagos is really pretty safe, and
Yeah,
the main concerns that you have tend to occur at night time. So your daytime, you don't have mugging and things like that, which you do in England in the daytime. So there are
yeah,
different concerns, and so I think you go to the country, or before you go to the country, you understand what the concerns are for that particular city in that
yeah,
particular country, and then you live your life accordingly. But there's no real reason for um, people to not go to South Africa with all the promise it has, even on holiday, and just follow the
yeah.
precautions which are beautifully
Exactly. And
set out by the Foreign Office.
yeah, yeah. And also, like like as you would anywhere in the world, just read up about the culture and learn a bit.
Mm,
Do a bit of research, um, and embrace it because
mm,
actually the people over there are so lovely.
mm,
I was because obviously Sam's working a lot whilst wherever we are. When we were in South Africa, obviously we had Annabelle, and me and her were out during the day a lot on our own, just wandering. We'd go wander down to the beach, walk all along the beach, um, and everybody got to know who we were just from because it's all locals, and they'd always
mm,
say hello and how are you, and also watch what you're doing, and if they saw. I don't know, maybe like I remember leaving my bag on the beach. I could go in the sea on the pram, and sort of three people came up and said, "Oh, we'll just sit here with your with your stuff whilst you swim. And I didn't have anything valuable. I was just like, oh, it's fine, don't worry. But, everybody's got your back everywhere. And it just felt, whereas in England, you'd have to say, or not necessarily, sorry, that's not fair. In other situations, you'd have to say, oh, would you mind just watching my stuff so I can quickly go and do this? Whereas there, you just knew people had your back. And you've got to be sensible. And I wasn't going to be walking around in, diamond earrings and carry a bag full of cash. But
absolutely not.
But I wouldn't do that in London. Well, I don't own diamond earrings, but I probably wouldn't worry about jewelry so much. But I still wouldn't walk around with a big bag of cash through London.